Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I made a video yesterday on Poland and I said that Poland is not really very courageous, has a big mouth, but still is not very courageous and waits for the coalition to form in order to send tanks to Ukraine. Not any kind of tanks, because it sent its own, I think, 240 tanks already of its own, but sending Leopard tanks, which are German-made, manufactured. And I think they need the Germany's permission, and they specifically asked for the permission, and they don't want to stick their neck out. That's what it is. They want others to do first something, and then they will say, yeah, we also support Ukraine. Well, yeah, you wait for others to move in first. That tells me that you're not that independent or courageous. But there was a point that was very, very obvious, but coming straight from the source. Now, it seems like the green light, the green light is flashing on and off, letting these guys know that they are allowed to send Leopard tanks to Ukraine. And that is the president of the European Commission who says, yeah, you can do that. And but we're not involved, we're not actively involved in the hostilities in Ukraine whatsoever. We're just good Christians helping other in need. That's how the story goes, and if you think differently, then you should get arrested. I'm just kidding. But those days are coming anyway, because we're running from them instead of facing them and fight them. This article comes from the New Voice of Ukraine from January 8th, 2023. President of the European Parliament, not Commission, my bad, calls for Leopard's tanks to be sent to Ukraine. President of the European Parliament, Roberta Metsola, I don't know if she ever seen a tank in her life, but anyway, has called on Ukraine's partners to supply the country's army with Leopard tanks. German news channel Tagesschau reported on January 7th. Okay, so provide them with tanks. Metsola praised the decision of Germany and the United States to transfer Marder and Bradley infantry fighting vehicles to the Ukrainian army. She also noted that Russian dictator Vladimir Putin expects Europe to abandon Ukraine. No, it's a lot of money to be made out of it. What are you talking about? On all sides. And I'm quoting, "This should not be allowed," Metsola said. Should not be allowed. Anyway, and I'm quoting, "It's important that Europe continues to..." What did I do here? I missed something? It continues to, all right, politically, humanitarianly, and militarily support Ukrainians, she said. Well, but it is important that Europe strengthens its own defense and becomes a real military alliance. That's not going to happen. On the contrary, I think you're going to dissolve your union pretty soon. It's just, how should I put it? In a gang, in a criminal gang, you have obviously a number of individuals, and you got a leader usually, right? And the leader is the leader because he's the worst, how should I put it, and he's upping the game. And the other ones sometimes are not eager to follow the leader in the new crime because they think that crime is really, it's hard to have all of them at the same level of criminal mentality. So you have one who's going to try to drag everybody else, and you're going to have questions. And I don't know, man, if I want to do this. I think that's really over the top. Things like this. Like in a war, when you, let's kill some civilians or do this, you have criminals doing, mercenaries and others. And sometimes, some people say, well, come on, man, we're going too far with this. The same thing is in the European Union. Yeah, you have the direction imposed by certain guys behind the Brussels little brass over there, but you have countries that are really like, man, what if I am at the receiving end of this entity? I'm done. So what am I supposed to do? I hold this tiger by the by the tail, and if I let go, it's going to eat me as it eats those guys. And I think, remember the countries from Visegrad, the so-called coalition of the four countries, right? Well, it seems like Hungary, Poland, Czech Republic, and Slovakia, it's all done. But nevertheless, it doesn't mean that other coalitions could form and splinter the European Union, because it's not easy to control people all the time. Now, US newspaper The Wall Street Journal reported earlier that Poland had begun to consider supplying Ukraine with Leopard tanks. This is what I was talking about yesterday. Polish Prime Minister confirmed negotiations were underway, but said Poland does not plan to transfer Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine without support from a broader coalition of allies. Yeah, he's not going to jump and do the right thing alone, unless there's the big boy over there supporting you. It's like you see a crime occurring or a rape, occurring right in front of your eyes, and instead of intervening, you say, well, maybe I call my cousin and my brother, and together maybe we come back and we intervene. That's great. That's great. Now, Finland has also confirmed its readiness to supply Leopard 2 combat tanks to Ukraine if, and I'm quoting, Europe adopts this step in general. That means, again, you know how it is. Courage is singular, is lonely, and cowardice is in a group. Well, you go figure who's who and what's what here. And you can say, well, just a second here. We have Ukraine, which is smaller, and we have Russia, who's well, if you are eager to ignore evidence, I can't help you with that. Just give you extra information. I think you're aware that Ukraine is not Ukraine versus Russia. But if you think like that, then, I don't know, give me $20,000 today and I will give it to you tomorrow with a 3,000% interest. And I'll meet you tomorrow. I'll let you know where and when, okay? All right, you can't be that naive in real life. But it seems like you sometimes talk to people, friends, acquaintances, intellectuals, intelligent people who function in society, who have good, some of them good jobs with authority. So that tells you that that person has at least some skills, intellectual skills, behavioral skills, some kind of skills, other kind of skills. But anyway, put those aside. That tells you that those guys are not tards. And sometimes they just, based on the ideology or I think the desired worldview that they want to have, they just simply do not want to hear anything else. I'm not saying they should accept, because if someone comes and tells me something, if I can verify it on the spot, I will not take it as, oh yeah, that's right. No. I mean, it depends who that person is, obviously. If it's a person that I already built, intellectual trust, if you know what I mean, then yes, and sincerity, then you know that person doesn't want to win the conversation, okay, wants to enhance the conversation. What does that mean? That means that he wants to add to the conversation so we both learn and we become wiser and know more about a certain kind of issue. So, but we have some others who are just trying to win the conversation. Now with those ones, you even check if they're alive, slap them a little bit before the conversation starts, something like that. Just you want to make sure they're alive, okay? There's nothing intended. You can use your fist as well. Just kidding. You don't know how people might take this BS. So you have the other ones who just want to destroy you, and usually that happens in front of an audience. Then you have to be as that Zen little story says, with a samurai, you fight like a samurai. With a thief or the bandit, you fight like a bandit. The same here. With people that you can have a honest, sincere conversation, you learn. With a thief, you learn, but you have to work differently, because otherwise you're going to lose, especially when you're in front of an audience and you have to figure out what kind of audience that is. You have to figure out the intellect, you have to figure out the ideology, the worldview of the audience, and that's hard because you don't know everybody. And even if you think you knew them, situations like this or COVID-19 provide you with some revelations about people that you might have not thought they are like that. And the same, the vice versa, is valid. It's not only that you discover that some people are like that, but those people might discover that you are not really like that, but you're like that. So anyway, the main goal is to learn, to enhance your knowledge, become wiser and more knowledgeable, and then apply that. If you just stop at knowing things and without applying that or helping others maybe open their little how should I put, horizons, broaden or open different doors for them to access, and while you interact with others, you open your own doors or doors that you never knew that were over there. And what can you do? Thank them for that, and thank your way of being, because you're open to tap into information or knowledge that you might disagree at this point or are uncomfortable, but information and knowledge should not be uncomfortable. You have passion about certain kind of subject, that's true, but do not let passion stand in the way of knowledge, because that means you're going to pick and choose, and picking and choose knowledge and information, there's going to have only one loser, and that is, you know what I mean. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.